What's up, everybody? Harrison Van Riper here, along with my co-host Alexander Gariku. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. So today we're just going to kind of talk about some of the research that we're publishing. So this video will be published alongside of a new research blog from Photon that will be launching here pretty soon. And we just kind of wanted to give some background into like what the research was, how we did it, and just some of the kind of like the behind the scenes stuff. We thought that might be kind of fun. So Alex, why don't you get us kicked off with just like kind of how we started doing this research and what we did to start it off.
So after identifying all of the candidates and then their associated web domains, we were able to plug those into SearchLight, and what you see here is the end result. So over 550 individual typosquatted domains, which we were broadly able to separate into three different categories.
Yeah, three different categories, and again within the blog you can kind of read through all this, but the categories are misconfigured or illegitimate, non-malicious, and we kind of lump brand damaging kind of things into non-malicious. And then also redirecting domains. And redirecting was actually the largest category, about 68% of the 550 that we saw. They were kind of being used to redirect to different kinds of sites. And we'll go through each one of these, but those are kind of the broad categories. And again, we are kind of focusing on the typosquat aspect of it. So, typosquatting is something that can be used for phishing. It can be used to, conduct different kinds of attacks. And
that's why it's relevant not just for political candidates, as we've pointed out, but also for companies overall, more broadly.
Yeah, and I mean, we just kind of use the elections as kind of like a backdrop to this research. Really, this could be applied to any company that's out there. But since everybody's talking about the U.S. presidential elections, why not take the opportunity? So let's go through some of the examples. So we'll start off with one of them for a misconfigured example, and this one's for Tulsi2020.com. Here in SearchLight, you can kind of see, we give it a risk score. It's at a medium because it is hosting some content. It's not just a parked domain, but it is just kind of misconfigured. This is a typical site. This is a typical page that you would see when a kind of like a web server, web site has been set up sort of incorrectly. It's not hosting anything related to Tulsi Gabbard or her campaign or anything like that. It's not really sure, who owns it. If it is something that Tulsi's campaign owns, then they don't want to be hosting just a random page that nobody knows what to do with, right? So it's something that would be good for them to know about and then potentially change it. Another example that we have is for Bernie Sanders campaign, so it's berniesnaders.com.
And this is more of a traditional typosquat.
Yeah, so this is what we would see, say potentially a phishing phishing attack, something like that. Within the page itself, you can see the risk score, and again, you can see a screenshot of the page itself. When you actually go to the page and visit it, a lot of the text on the page itself is placeholder, so it's like the Latin...
the lorem ipsum.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll scroll down here. You can see, so right there, you can see that it's just all kind of placeholder text, and it's not really sure exactly what's going on. Maybe this was just like a project from the campaign that they just never finished. But they do seem to be like selling some merchandise or something like that. So it's just unclear exactly what's going on here. So say, for example, if Bernie Sanders' campaign was looking for typosquats, this might be one that they might be interested in. So moving on to the non-malicious stuff. This one's for Elizabeth Warren's campaign, and you can't really tell from the screenshot exactly what it is, but this is more on the side of just a normal typosquat. And it's actually one of the more interesting ones just because it's not malicious. It just kind of gives you a picture of a cat, like you can see, which is good. I mean, like that's happy, and it actually tells you that you have visited a typosquat page. But this also does kind of highlight the potential for things to happen in the future, right? So like you can see there, if you scroll down a little bit more, stay tuned for some unofficial political opinions. It's like, okay, that could be bad for a typosquat for Elizabeth Warren's campaign. It could be something that's damaging to her. It could be inflammatory or something like that. Not something that they want to not have their eye on. So again, use this example as an example for your company, and it immediately becomes clear that the power behind this is kind of knowledge in this space. Okay, so then let's move on to our redirecting, since that was kind of like the biggest part of it. So moving on to some of the redirecting domains, since this was, like I said, a 68% portion of the total alerts that we saw. So this one's for BetoO'Rourke.com, and it redirects to actually a political opponent of Beto. It's Marianne Williamson. So you can see here that, again, just think of this within a company setting. So say you're a social media site that has a domain, somebody hosts a typosquat that then redirects it to one of your competitors or something like that. That is something that companies keep an eye on all the time. So they want to be alerted to that. This is something that our platform really does highlight very, very well. So this was a big majority of it, these redirecting domains. One of the kind of weirder ones that we've seen was for donaldtrump.cloud, and I think you'll actually have to go visit that one to get the full experience of what that is. But this one is talking about asking you if you like bread or not, which, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I love bread. It's fine. But it's just kind of like a weird website that it could be literally anything, but it's redirecting to this. It's hosting a lot of ads, a lot of kind of like clickbaity ads like this, and really just sitting on that domain just for this purpose of trying to drive traffic to it. And if you click one of the options, you don't have to click one of them, Alex, but if you do click one of them, it will show you like a video on YouTube. I think one is for the musical Grease, and the other one is for Oprah when she's screaming that she loves bread, because why not? So that was one of the weirder ones that we found. One of the crazier, I guess some of the more malicious stuff, at least more malicious seeming. So this one for Joe Biden's, a typosquat on Joe Biden's campaign, joebinden.info. So if you go to that one, Alex, this one, you can see on the screen, it's redirecting a whole lot. And at the end of some of these redirects, it kind of depends. Sometimes they'll end up at LinkedIn. Sometimes they'll go somewhere else. So try to open it again. One of these do end up at something like a Chrome extension, right? So yes, just like this. So the silent search. So there's like 5 different Chrome extensions that we saw, and we never identified them as necessarily being malicious or anything like that, but these extensions did give an awful lot of information over to the people that were operating them. So it gave access to different APIs within Chrome, and it's just, again, we didn't find anything necessarily malicious, but the amount of information being given up on a typosquat related to a political candidate is just interesting nonetheless.
And it also highlights the possibilities of what someone could do
Exactly.
with a typosquat like this.
Exactly. So say it was a completely malicious Chrome extension, then harvesting information, that's definitely something that we've seen before. It's definitely something that's out there. So not ruling it out as a possibility. And then one of the kind of interesting investigation side of things, this was a typosquat for Kamala Harris, and basically what we had found is the person who owns a lot of these domains that are redirecting to dailytravelposh.info, they own about 60 or 70 different types of typosquat domains, and probably I think like 15 or so of them were actually political sounding in nature. So it was either Kamala Harris, there was one for Bernie Sanders, but they all redirect to this page here. And there's nothing, malicious about this right now. Again, this is one of those potential scenarios, but we, in doing the research for this, we found that dailytravelposh.com had previously been associated with an attack against technology companies using typosquat domains. So this is, again, a potential scenario, but this is one of those situations where you want to get ahead of it rather than wait for it to actually happen to you. So I'm not saying that it's anything right now, but in the future it definitely could turn into something. So I think that runs us through all of our examples, but be sure to read the rest of the blog and give us a shout with any comments or anything like that. Thanks.
Thank you.